We've been married 2 years, together for 5. We're both 34. I've always thought of myself as a pretty open-minded, adventurous eater. I'll try almost anything once, even strange or unusual dishes when I travel. I'm not the kind of person who pushes food around my plate or refuses to try something new. There's one thing I've never liked: mustard. I've tried every version I can find: yellow, honey, spicy, brown, stone ground, artisanal blends. All of them. Hate the taste. It's too strong, too overpowering, and it ruins anything it's on. I don't make a huge deal about it. I just don't eat mustard. For whatever reason, my husband never seemed to accept this. He loves mustard, especially honey mustard. He puts it on sandwiches, dips fries in it, even mixes it into marinades. And every so often, he'll hold a fry out to me and say, "Just try it. You'll like it this time." I'm a grown woman. I know what I like and don't like. Every time I refused, it turned into a little back and forth. He'd insist I was being picky. I'd insist I wasn't, and we'd eventually drop it. I saw it as one of those small, harmless disagreements couples sometimes have. Annoying, but not worth a big fight. Or so I thought. Last weekend, we were driving back from a short trip together and stopped at a gas station for food. He grabbed a hot dog covered in mustard. I grabbed one plain. Honestly, I don't even love hot dogs, but I'll eat them. While we were waiting in line, he asked what toppings I'd gotten. I told him nothing. Something in his expression shifted instantly. He looked almost insulted. Before I could react, he grabbed my hot dog out of my hand and marched to the condiment station. I called after him to stop, but he ignored me. He smeared mustard all over my food, saying, "Grow up. Stop being so picky." It felt humiliating. I just turned and walked out to the car. By then, I didn't even want the hot dog anymore. When he came back, instead of apologizing, he was furious. He accused me of embarrassing him in front of strangers. His voice kept rising until he was screaming. Then, for the first time in our marriage, he said the word divorce. Something about the way he said it, the rage in his voice, made me take my phone out and start recording. I've never felt afraid of him before, but in that moment, I was. And when we pulled back onto the highway, my fear doubled. He started driving erratically, swerving, speeding, riding up behind other cars and braking hard. I sat silent in the passenger seat, just trying to stay calm. That night, instead of going home, I checked into a hotel. Ignored his calls and texts. At work the next day, I stayed quiet, but by evening, the messages piled up. He sent a screenshot of a Google search for divorce lawyers. I cried so much that day I couldn't eat. And I kept thinking, why couldn't I have just eaten the mustard? But deep down, I knew it wasn't about mustard. I realized I don't have a support system of my own anymore. My parents have passed away. My dad when I was a teenager. My mom just recently. No siblings. My friends have all drifted away or are more his friends than mine. We have no kids. Our finances are separate except for one joint account for bills. We were even talking about buying a house. But right now, I'm staying in a hotel and ignoring his calls. He's still texting me. At one point, he wrote that he loves me and doesn't want to lose me. But I'm forcing his hand by not communicating or coming home. Reading those words, I started listing out all the moments over the years when his behavior has crossed a line. I saw the pattern for what it was. The mustard was just the tip of the iceberg. 2 days later, he found me. He must have followed me from work to the hotel. When I saw him waiting in the lobby, my heart skipped, and not in a good way. I realized I didn't miss him at all. I sat with him in the lounge area, mostly because I didn't want to make a scene in public. I pointed to the security camera and told him if he tried to hurt me, there'd be footage and I'd press charges. He acted shocked, said he'd never hurt me. I reminded him how I feared for my life in the car that night. He ignored it. He asked why I wasn't coming home. I said, "Because you're divorcing me." He claimed he didn't mean it, that he was just upset. I told him normal people don't threaten their marriage when they're upset. They talk about what's bothering them. He got angry, asked if I was saying he wasn't normal. Said if that's what he took from this, there's no point in talking. I told him I was looking for a lawyer and he should too. That's when he snapped. All this over one mistake. It wasn't one mistake. It was years of coercion, intimidation, and controlling behavior. When I tried to leave, he grabbed my wrist hard. I pointed at the camera again. He let go, seething. I told him the only contact I wanted from him was his lawyer's information. Anything else, and I'd call the police. When I got back to my room, I collapsed onto the bed and sobbed until I was sick. Later, I started documenting everything. Every call, every message. The calls ramped up before Thanksgiving. I'd been told by people helping me to keep him unblocked, but muted, so I could save anything threatening. One message begged me to come to Thanksgiving dinner with his family. I didn't. Instead, I made myself the meal my mom used to make. Rotisserie chicken, grilled asparagus with cheese, fries, garlic toast. It wasn't the same without her, but I cried eating it anyway. Apparently, my absence forced him to tell his family we were separated. The next day, I got a call from an unfamiliar number. I answered, thinking it might be my lawyer. It was my mother-in-law. She begged me not to hang up. She said I was her daughter. She loved me. Her son loved me. And she couldn't understand why I'd leave him over something so minor. He had told her a completely watered-down version of events. that he'd simply offered me a cup of mustard to try in the car. And I'd started screaming about divorce. Then she started asking which lawyer I'd hired and what I'd told them, reminding me that lying in court is a crime. My lawyer had warned me not to tell them anything, so I hung up and muted her number. If only she knew I have a recording of her son screaming that he ought to smack me, calling me a stubborn bitch, threatening divorce, and saying he'd run the car off the road if I didn't start acting right. He texted me that night, calling me a bitch for making his mother cry and saying he'd come find me. That it would take more than a locked door to stop him from taking me home. I forwarded those messages to the people helping me. I've since moved. My work is letting me go fully remote. I have a divorce lawyer. I'm talking to domestic violence support groups. And I know now, without a doubt, that this was never about mustard. It was about control. And I'm done.